So,
3.
Here. Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to Advanced Studio Classroom. My name is Peter. This is
David. So good to see you guys. Thanks for having me on the show, Peter.
My pleasure. And it is always good to see you guys Monday afternoon. It was especially great to see a lot of you and hear that a lot of you were watching the Doris concert this past Friday, the memorial concert for Doris Peng-Meng-Hui, as we remember her and the great work she did, the great impact she had on Taiwan. There were a lot of people in the theater, and we know there were a lot watching online as well. If you missed it, or you just want to watch it again, you can find a video of the entire concert at dorisbroom.org. That's DORISBROUGHAM, dorisbroom.org.
That's right. And thank you guys, and hello, Steve. It's good to see you too. Good afternoon to you. And thanks everybody for anyone who came to Let's Run. Thank you guys so much. It was rainy. It looked like we were going to have to cancel it, but then the rain stopped just in time for us to get running, and everyone had a really great time. The concert went on. We had some great music, some great games. It was fantastic. So thank you all for coming to Let's Run. We did also have a live stream that we did at the beginning of Let's Run before we started with the famous Let's Run dance and warm-up. You can check that out on the Studio Classroom and Let's Talk in English YouTube channels.
Yes, sirree. Love doing that Let's Run dance, that warm-up dance. That's a good warm-up for really any physical activity.
I'm going to start doing it every morning.
Yeah, because it's got a song, so you can remember the steps.
Yeah.
And just very useful. Also, just a quick reminder before we begin the formal part of our program today, that this coming Saturday, that we're not doing anything. We have this Saturday off, but it is Teacher's Day.
Teacher's Day.
Here in the island. Teacher's Day. So we're glad to be teachers for you here on Advanced Livestream, but we also want you to remember, think about how you might be a teacher in someone's life as well, or someone's lives as well. We all can teach. Teachers are usually the word we use for people who do it for a living, but we can all teach. We all have something to teach. Think about what you might have to teach to someone or someone's in your life.
That's right. And Agatha, no, there's no prize necessarily for the winner of the Let's Run. The prize is that you get to do it with everybody, but there is a lucky draw. So if you register for the run, then your name goes into a box, and then you might have your name pulled, and then you might win a prize that way. Happy Teacher's Day.
Yeah. And hello also to B. Good to have you with us as always. So, persuasion. The big word for today, and our topic for today, it comes from an article, as always, in our Advanced Studio Classroom magazine. This week, there's an article over here about later in the week, and one of the first words in it is cajole, and that's also a vocab word for us today. Cajole, should see it at the bottom of your screen. David, what does cajole mean?
Whenever I hear the word cajole, I think of someone who's like, oh, come on. They're trying to get me to do something. They keep on sort of poking at me or nagging me physically or mentally to get me to agree with them or get me to agree to something.
And that's often the way cajole is used today. It can also be used to mean to get someone to do something by coaxing or by flattering them, saying, "Oh, Dave, you're so well dressed today. I bet you like everyone around you to look well dressed. How about buying me a shirt?"
Oh, sure.
That's a terrible act of cajoling.
Yes, I will buy you a shirt.
Yes, you see. Anyway, cajole can either be used in a kind of negative nagging sense or in a flattering kind of, but either way, it's still the same meaning. It's meant to try to get someone to do something. So we thought, let's talk about persuasion. That's trying to get someone to do something, trying to get someone to agree with you. And so that'll be our topic for today. Steve, sometimes there's another part of me will persuade me to do. For example, he told me to buy a TMNT Chrome Dome action figure, and I told myself, I need to do some research first. Yes, good thinking, Steve.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's what
That's right. I knew it stood for something.
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It's true. You can persuade yourself to do things, right?
Yes.
Or persuade yourself not to do things. Sort of like figure out, oh, should I make that purchase or should I not?
Yes.
We got something from Agatha here. I am not a persuasive person, nor am I easily persuaded. I always have a lot of questions before making the final decision. Agatha, that's a very good quality. Hold on to that. These days, especially, because there's a lot of people that want to persuade you to believe what they think with fake news and social media and all that. So it's always good to ask questions.
Right. Always ask questions, but don't ask too many questions, because some people out there want to persuade you of a good thing and you just haven't heard it yet, or you don't agree with it yet, but you'll hear them out because maybe they can persuade you to it. We're not addressing persuasion today as something that's always bad or something you always have to watch out for. But obviously it can be misused, and we'll touch on that briefly today. But yes, Agatha and Steve have already responded to our poll, I can tell, and so let's look at our poll today. Are you a persuasive person? Are you a persuasive person? Yes, and here's 3 reasons why. If I believe in my cause, I don't go around naturally trying to persuade people, but if I'm passionate about something, if I believe in it, then yeah, I can be a persuasive person for that thing. I leave it to others. You know, I like things, but I'm just not good at convincing people to see things my way, to do things my way. I leave it to others. Or finally, I'm learning Jedi mind control. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Yes. That's for someone who really is not a persuasive person at all and and has seen too many Star Wars movies, frankly.
Right.
Yes. But
most people would fall right in that sweet spot of if I believe in my cause, which makes sense. Because most of the time, the only time you're really trying to persuade someone of something, is if you really believe it. You really believe that it would be good for them as well, and so you want to persuade, because it takes a lot of energy to persuade someone.
Yes, absolutely. So let's give you some vocabulary words that are about or sort of adjacent to persuasion. One word that's good to know is argumentative.
Argumentative.
Kind of a long word. Argumentative.
Argumentative.
What do we mean by argumentative?
It means you just love picking a fight. Like some people, especially when it comes to stuff like, you know, maybe pop stars, music, politics, if anyone says anything to them about these things, and they immediately want to try to say something that maybe will probably start a conversation or maybe even a fight.
Right. Argumentative is someone who just always seems to get into arguments. And no doubt it's because they're trying to persuade, usually, someone to see things their way or to persuade someone that they're wrong, but it ends up just becoming an argument, just becoming like a shouting match in which, you know, tempers rise and maybe feelings get hurt, and that's not good persuasion. Even if it comes from the intention to persuade, that's not argumentative, not a way to go about it. Steve, I hope I can be Master Yoda to have superpower. Yes, good luck with that, Steve.
May the force be with you, Steve.
Yeah, and Joy. Joy says, hello, David M. has persuaded me to buy
维力炸酱面.
There you go. Noodle in the advanced program. Thank you, Joy.
I remember that, and I'm glad that I persuaded you to buy those, because that is the best kind of 泡面.
Yes. Lo Yuchi, or Lo Yochi, excuse me. How to say no when someone tried to persuade me to do something I don't like. Ooh, good question. How to say no. Because you don't want to, usually, unless it's like some stranger you've never met before, just a salesman. Usually, if it's someone you know, you don't want to say no, because it might hurt their feelings. You know, you want to give them the benefit of the doubt that they meant it in a good way, but you still don't want it. So how do you say no? David, how do you say no?
I mean, I just try to say like, oh, no, thank you, thanks for offering, but no thanks. And as I'm walking away, and if they keep on following you, then maybe you can like pretend like you're getting a phone call or something.
Yes, the old whip out the, excuse me.
Excuse me, I have to take this, and then quickly walk away.
That's a good way. Luna says if the targets are kids, Persuade them equal to cajole them. So I persuade them and cajole them. I think perhaps you mean, Luna, with sweets or cookies. Yes.
It gets the job done.
Powerful tools of persuasion.
It works on me too, actually. So just for the record.
So if you need to persuade David of something, just have a bag of cookies with you, and odds are good.
Odds are pretty good.
Yeah.
And Agatha, we see here. Sometimes I wonder if persuasive is an important trait for a believer to successfully spread God's word to people around them. And it certainly can help, but, the truth speaks for itself.
Yes. It is good, I would say, Agatha, for Christians, for believers to have some confidence in being able to persuade people, but it is ultimately the Spirit of God who changes hearts and minds. Our job as Christians is basically to introduce people to the gospel or to Jesus and to say, here's who he is, like you introduce someone at a party. It doesn't mean they're going to get along really well, but your job, you've introduced them, you've at least given them a shot, and that's what Christians really do in terms of bringing the gospel to other people. We might try to persuade them, but it's not ultimately in our hands, so we don't want to get too carried away with it. Okay, so let's go right into some vocab words here. We're going to give you 4 of them that outline sort of the basic areas to keep in mind when you want to successfully persuade someone. Our first word for that is credibility. Credibility. You need to have, if you want to persuade someone, you need to have, and they need to think that you have, credibility. David, what is credibility?
Credibility comes from, you see the kind of the root word cred there, like credit, means that you have a demonstrated history of being trustworthy, right? Yes. If you say something that's credible, it means that it has the flavor of truth, and you don't have a history of tricking people. Like Mary said, I think I'm a persuasive person, but I tend to listen from others. If other people's opinions are good, I'll accept them, right? If those other people are saying something credible, right, something that seems true, you can check their facts and say, that is how that works, that is interesting, and then you can go and believe what they're trying to persuade you to believe, because it's credible. Right,
and they have credibility. You know them. They've never lied to you before, if you know them. If it's a stranger, that's another question. But yeah, it's basically, is the guy driving your Uber car telling you should have surgery? Well, maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't, but it's more credible. There's more credibility if a doctor tells you should have surgery instead of your Uber driver.
Yeah.
Steve, during a meeting, if we want to persuade the employees and the boss, we have to use strong words to make them understand the project, on what topics to work together.
Yeah, not too strong.
Yeah, right, not too strong. We'll get to that in a moment, though. But yeah, no, Steve, you've touched on a point that we're going to get to shortly. And Kyle, hello, Kyle. Yeah. Hi, David and Peter. I think persuading people is a really hard thing because you have to have reasonable reasons that make others believe you're right. Yes. Persuasion is not something, it's not just like saying hi.
That's right.
It is a task, it is an effort, it is a skill.
Yeah, and I like Agatha's point here. Credibility sounds like the Google reviews from a restaurant that you'd like to visit. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, if there are some credible reviewers that are leaving reviews for that restaurant, then it's really worth it to listen to what they have to say.
Exactly. Okay, let's give you another word to help you be more persuasive. This is 2 words, actually. It's a phrase. Common ground.
Common ground.
If you've established your credibility with someone, or they've established it with you, the next thing is you want to find common ground between the two of you. What does that mean, David?
The common ground just means you have something that both of you can agree on. For example, maybe this person feels this way about this politician, this person feels another way. So they have very different opinions, but their common ground is that they both want the best for their country. Right? They can agree that means a leader who is trustworthy, who is credible, who cares for others, right? They can agree on that. That's their common ground. And then that can help them have a conversation about the things they don't agree on.
Right. From there, from something that they agree on, they can start to gradually explore things they don't agree on, and which one of them may try to persuade the other. But first, from that foundation, of common ground. Very important. Agatha asks, is it similar to common interest? Pretty much, yeah. Common interest, common values, common fears even, common needs. Anything that you share with the other person. The expression in English is common ground, like the ground underneath us. But that's really just one way of putting it. You'll hear common with a lot of words, actually.
That's right.
And lo yo chi, again, can we use common ground in political conversation? Absolutely.
It's very important.
Absolutely. Because otherwise, in a political conversation especially, it sounds like just, here's my guy, here's your guy, we don't agree, and, shout. But find what you have in common. Because politics is about things, conflict, basically, different points of view. So there especially, it's important to find common ground.
That's right.
Okay, here's the word now that Steve was sort of talking about earlier when he said strong words. Here's the word for you to think about, vivid.
Vivid.
V-I-V-I-D, vivid.
Vivid.
What does that mean, David?
If something is vivid, I often think of colors, right? Like if you walk if you're going on a trip and you're out in nature and you see a field of flowers in springtime and the colors are very bright and the grass is very green, they're very vivid colors. Or a very vivid image is when someone describes something in such a way that you can close your eyes and you can see it. Oh, it's a very vivid image.
Yes. Who? This is a live program. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You are hearing us and we are responding to you live in real time.
That's right.
And Steve also says, can common ground use at school when I'm doing a project? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Common ground is useful in so many situations. It's a great starting point when you have to work with people. Find what you have in common.
That's
now,
right.
Vivid is what you want to do. When you are trying to persuade someone, you want to give them vivid examples of what you're talking about, of how they will benefit, of, use, like Steve said, strong language. Now, strong language can sometimes mean angry language or, even profanity, but vivid language always works. This new product is going to improve your sales like a rocket to the moon. Your sales are going to go up like a rocket to the moon. Something that's just off the top of my head. You can come up with something better, but that is vivid. Instead of just saying, oh, this new product will increase your sales by X percent. It may do that, but much more if you can find a vivid example to inspire the person to be persuaded to buy the product.
That's right. And it's so wonderful to have you, Hu. Thank you so much for joining us. You can join us next time, too.
We're here every Monday. That's right, Hu.
We're here every Monday.
And, okay, finally, this is probably the last word we'll get to today. Fervor.
Fervor.
F-E-R-V-O-R. David, what is fervor?
I think of fervor like passion. You can talk about something and just say, oh, yes, I really like strawberry ice cream. It's okay. Or you can say, I love strawberry ice cream. Of all the ice creams, I see only strawberry. It is the best of the best. I have fervor when I talk about strawberry ice cream.
Yes, you can almost hear that he's about to break into vivid language in talking about his passion for strawberry ice cream. So yeah, fervor is basically, we're talking about the emotions that are involved in persuasion. The emotions that you feel because you're trying to persuade someone, if you're trying to persuade someone, it's of something you feel passionate about, like strawberry ice cream on David's part.
I actually prefer chocolate, for the record.
Okay, chocolate ice cream. So he has a fervor for chocolate ice cream, wants you to persuade it what it is, but he can't just throw all his emotion at you. He can't just say, oh, why don't you eat chocolate ice cream or strawberry ice cream or whichever one it is, blah, 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 blah. He's got to channel that fervor into vivid examples, finding common ground, and establishing credibility. He happens to be a man who eats ice cream every day. He's eaten like hundreds of different flavors, hundreds of different ice cream stores. He is credible in the field of ice cream. And so you're much more, listen to him more and perhaps be more persuaded by him.
Okay.
So B, hello B, I can be persuasive if I truly believe the cause. Yes.
That's the way it is with most people.
Yeah, that's the majority in our poll of you, is I can be persuasive if I believe in my cause. Just a few of you say that, yes, I'm persuasive and here's 3 reasons why. I'm sorry we don't have time to hear your 3 reasons. Maybe we'll do another episode on persuasion and you can, give us the reasons why you're so persuasive and see if we are persuaded by your reasons. But For now, I'm afraid we need to call it a day. Just, if you can, remember those 4 basic words. They're sort of in sequence. To be better persuader, you want to establish credibility, your credibility. You want to find common ground. What do you share together? You want to use vivid examples, not just numbers, not just speech, but vivid, well-chosen, well-thought-of examples to persuade them. And always that fervor that we all feel when we're trying to persuade someone of something we love. We all feel that fervor, but we got to channel it. Otherwise, the person will just get the passion, but they won't be persuaded. That's a line from one of my favorite movies, Amadeus, about the great composer Mozart. And there's a scene where he's before the emperor trying to convince the emperor to change his policy on music. And the emperor, Mozart, is like, emotion, and he's got the fervor going, and he's got vivid examples going. And at the end, the emperor just says, "You are passionate, Herr Mozart." It's in Germany, so Herr Mozart. "You are passionate, Herr Mozart, but you do not persuade." The scene continues, but I just love that little expression because there is a difference between just being passionate and actually persuading someone to see things your way or to buy the product or whatnot. Anyway, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Agatha. Thank you, B. Thank you, Steve. Joy, oh, you flatter us. We're so great at selling, she says. Thank you, Joy. You're great at listening and attending, and we hope you all are great. We know you all are great at practicing your English. So come back next week, and we'll give you another opportunity to do that. David, any last words?
Farewell, my friends. And 维力炸酱面 is actually quite good. You should try it if you haven't yet.
There you go. On that note, we'll see you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So I'm telling you,